Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing a combination of grade 5 titanium and 18 karat red gold doing business as the Richard Mille RM030, an automatic winder with a unique decoupling system for its winding mechanism. The watch wears easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, partly due to its sizing, partly due to the shape and the camber of the signature Richard Mille tonneau case. So 16 centimeter circumference wrist, let's talk about the dimensions of the watch. It's fairly broad from 9 to 3, not including the crown. The watch measures 41.7 millimeters from 9 to 3. In terms of thickness, it's not as thick as you expect, 14.2 millimeters, making this watch viable under a jacket cuff. From lug to lug, it's more constrained than I imagined, 49.9 millimeters on the nose. So just under 50, I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. It is actually built to sit properly on a small wrist. Now I mentioned part of that is the constrained lug-to-lug dimension. Part of it is the shape of the case, which you can see is arced so that it plants itself and wraps itself around the wrist. It's a substantial watch. Even with its titanium component and large amounts of vulcanized rubber, you can feel the facing plate of the case as well as the backing plate in solid red gold. Pop it all open. Let's take a look at some of the hardware and the software. The strap is a vulcanized rubber and very supple RM custom piece. You can see how the hollow of the case flank continues unimpeded into the strap. The flare of the strap matches the flare of the case, and so does the flare in profile. You can see the two things are designed to work together and look all of a piece. Now granted, this is a remarkably flamboyant combination even for Richard Mille, but they have thought out the details of the design. One detail, and this is critical, the ventilation for the wrist, always important, especially for a sports watch. There are almost no features under the strap when you get away from the vents, where it really thins out and becomes super supple, almost like a gummy, but it is a rubber strap, it's not silicone. You can see the hollows of the case and the strap recapped in the profile of the pin buckle. You'll also note the signature Richard Mille spline screw present inside of the clasp as well as the buckle. The clasp is a leaf spring system. You can see that there's red gold on the buckle portion, and the inside of the clasp is titanium with a titanium spring. So it really does close itself with vigor, just as it opens itself with a snap. So you don't necessarily need a trigger system because this one will hold itself resolutely closed until you open it up. Now jumping back to the case, you can see that the Richard Mille turbine style crown, present and correct, it has a rubber shoulder, and then there are vertical satin elements slightly inset from the facing plate and the backing plate. You can see the case lets you know that it's titanium in case you've forgotten. The gold, I would like to think that speaks for itself. What appear to be columns in the flank of the case are actually the tunnels supporting the spline screw assembly system, so those are functional even as they serve an aesthetic purpose. There's a lovely polish along each flank of the faceplate and the backing plate, and you can see that on both sides. That's really the only high polish you're going to encounter on this case, which is otherwise all about satin finish. Now let's talk about the dial. It's not skeletonized so much as it's open. The base plate of the movement, that is skeletonized. The dial, though, is really a combination of a carbon fiber flange that sits outboard. You can see it bearing the individual loomed indices for the hours. And then there's a sapphire under the sapphire. Note that there's a cambered sapphire, an expensive piece, and then there's a flat sapphire on which the calibrations of the dial, the individual printed Arabic numerals, the aperture for the date, and the features of the power reserve and the winding system are displayed. So there's a sapphire, and then there's another sapphire underneath. The movement itself made of grade 5 titanium. You do have both a hacking second system and a quick set date, so you can rapidly cycle the date. You can see the date disc itself is a piece of sapphire with numerals silk screened on top. Now what you're looking at is a 55-hour power reserve indicator at 9 o'clock. You see that little red sweep at the end? Well, that's the part where you have to wind it manually, because although this is an automatic winding watch, the RM030 automatically disengages its winding system when it gets to 50 hours of energy. So at 50, you're on your own. It's not going to continue to tax the winding system. You have to manually wind to get to the full 55 hours of power reserve. And when the system disengages to reduce wear and tear there on the winding system, you'll see this on winding indication move to off to let you know that the system is done energizing itself. You'll also note that the base movement is nicely PVD executed. I'm going to open everything up here. Let's see if we can pop the strap off. I'm going to show you the movement in detail. This is the Richard Mille RM030ANRG. It starts its life as a voucher base. Now, check out the case back details. You can see it's solid gold, water resistant to 50 meters, and also made by Valgine, a stakeholder in Richard Mille and its case supplier. You can see twin mainspring barrels for very even torque release over the full 55 hours of potential power reserve. 42 joules adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer. You can see that the titanium winding rotor features white gold masses that can be moved in and out like wings to change the polar moment of inertia. As a result, you can create a more vigorous or more lax winding system. Depending on your level of activity, you can set the winding system to be relatively lax so you don't overtax it, or if you're a desk diver like me, you can set it to be very active to make the most of all of the extraneous energy of the wrist to wind the watch. The balance is free sprung for shock resistance, and you can see the 4 mounting points at the edge of the titanium skeletonized movement. Those 4 mounting points feature rubber donuts that help to isolate the movement from shock, but just in case some gets through, some shock will be dissipated by the free-sprung architecture, so it can't accidentally change the timing of the watch. There is a free-sprung balance, which you can see is both blackened and graced with variable inertia nuts. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and as you can see, though the movement does begin life as a voucher, the PVD execution, the variable inertia system, the shock resistance, the decoupling system, the custom titanium bridges, all of these are unique to Richard Mille. So this is anything but a customer caliber. I'm going to mention that there are probably 2 types of Richard Mille watch. There's the first kind, which is crafted of some sort of a white metal, titanium, steel, platinum, white gold, and then there's the second kind, which is crafted of some sort of a colored gold. You might say that it's the APRP or voucher powered Richard Milles which really distinguish between the 2 branches of the line, but I disagree. You could wear an RM9 in Alusic with APRP tourbillon and no one would notice it. You wear an RM30 in red gold and everyone knows what it is. So in that regard, if you want the ultimate in Richard Mille recognition, this is it right here, the Richard Mille RM30. See it and make it yours on the watch box. Richard Mille RM30 by night.